Hello there, this is Sandhya and welcome to Dynamic Living.
All of us at Discover GPS. I'm Aishwarya, I'm the founder of Global Beauty Secrets. All of us at Discover GPS have been truly inspired to celebrate this entire Valentine's week. Talking about better self-care rituals so that we reflect on the many ways that we can express love to ourselves. And keeping that in perspective, I thought the perfect guest for today would be Sandhya Krishnan. Sandhya Krishnan is someone whom we got in touch with um, in May, back in May, when the entire COVID thing had really scared people off, and so she's here. I'm just adding her. That really scared people, and we wanted to encourage people to take care of their mental health and wellness. That is when we got in touch with Sandhya, and she was really supportive of this entire initiative. And Hi, Sandhya.
Hi, Ashwarya. Nice to be connected
Same here.
again.
Same here. So, I was just telling our audience about who you are and what you do. And now that you're here, let me just hand it over to you so that you can introduce yourself and tell us more about your purpose.
Okay, thank you so much. Hello, everybody. I'm Sandhya Krishnan. I'm a wellness coach, and I like to work with young professionals, students, entrepreneurs, help them find their true purpose, realize their true potential, and find mindfulness, and therefore the best of productivity, the best of where they can go, right? So why wellness? Because wellness incorporates not just body, but also our mind, our relationships, our relationship with money, but also our larger sense of purpose. And if we sort of drop the ball on any one of these, sort of the whole castle comes crashing down. So for that reason, I love working with Discover GBS. I love what you guys stand for, and this whole sense of taking care of yourself and well-being. And thank you for having me here today.
So glad to. So you should also tell them, Sandhya, about how person you have defeated TB and how you've overcome it and how you've made it your life purpose to sort of educate people. Why have you actually been inspired to take to wellness at all? Tell us about your life journey a little bit more, because it is something that I have been personally inspired by. I remember I was just telling them about how we got in touch with you in May, and then you did this small live session for us during the quarantine, of which I was an active a viewer and audience, and I was really impressed by what with your entire talk on health and wellness and how you had fought such a deadly disease. So I think that is the reason why I really wanted you to be a part of this conversation that we were having on self-care rituals at all. So please tell our audience about your entire journey.
The journey of wellness. Well, let me tell you what was different for me, right? We
Yeah.
typically expect that TB will happen to a certain demographic of the population. We think it's somebody who doesn't take care of themselves and who's just ignoring their health, and suddenly TB happens, or we don't know how it happens. This happened to me in 2011, and it was a time when there actually wasn't a lot of awareness about TB to start with. But also, the point that I want to make was that I was a busy professional. I was a mother. I was also in good physical health. I was working out rigorously, like 4 times a week. I was not overweight. So I thought, you kind of feel like you're invincible at that time, and you're going like 14, 15 hours a day. In fact, I had a colleague who would work late into the night with me. Turns out he was the one who had TB, and I probably contracted it from him. But equally, that all of us probably have been exposed to TB, especially those of us living in India, which has also held us in good stead in today's COVID world. But what made me contract it, despite being in good physical health and having good nutrition, was my was the level of stress in my body, and was me just not listening to the signals of my body, right? And that's why I said earlier that we can't really, if we want to go ahead in our lives, if we want to realize our potential, and today science tells us that we're going to live to 80, 90, 100, 110. So if we do have to live these long lives, then we can't afford to let the ball drop on any one of these aspects, right? Because that's the part, that's the weak link that will come back and get you. So was I
Completely.
already, yeah, was I like really unfit and then became super fit after TB? No, I already was that. But what my big realization was exactly this, that we have to take care of all aspects of our life if we want to live a truly fulfilled, happy, satisfied, but also productive life.
That's true. And I also remember this another thing that you told me, that why you always make it a point to sort of keep yourself groomed, and you take that effort to dress up every day. It's about turning up to the world, but turning up as a perfect package, and just packaging yourself in a much better way when you turn up. And for me, that was personally so inspiring. So anyways, my point was that your talk was really influential
Thank
for
you. Thank you so much. I'll just clarify that the package is anything but perfect. There's plenty. You have to just see all the lights shining in my face, and all the uh, chaos that there is around me. But really, it is that for this invitation here, I would like to bring the self of me that's centered and that's presented as pleasantly as I can, without like breaking your head over it and worrying about the outcome of how it's going to be perceived, and that being the crucial point.
That's amazing. I think that is something that for me, especially given that I keep losing my balance all the time because I'm ambitious like that, and I always have like so much going on in my life, and I think that is something I would definitely take away from this talk. So
It's like the storms can happen all around us, but the
yeah,
center of us is ever at peace and can never be still. So,
wow. So, yeah, today's activity about gratitude journaling, I'm really excited about that. Why do you think it's even necessary? Because, like, okay, I know what I am thankful for, or maybe I'm not thankful for anything at all in my life. So, and I'm not talking about personally, but I'm just saying generally, right? Like, uh, I'm talking on behalf of our viewers here. I'm sorry to take that away from you guys, but like, why gratitude journal? Why do you think it's important at all?
so let me give you. So we've all heard about how gratitude is so important, and how it's there are several spiritual contexts to gratitude as well. Almost every philosophy and religion talks about gratitude in one way or the other, which
Yeah.
seems to be like a sense of how you can become a bigger person than where you were, right? Now, people like me, we feel the need to question everything, and I hope that, and I do believe there might be people in the audience as well who are saying that, yeah, okay, I mean, we see on Instagram there are these gorgeous people with their gorgeous journals and their writing, and and they feel all beatific, and but somehow it doesn't seem to ring very true for us in our everyday busy lives, especially when things are stressful, right? If somebody says, I remember specifically, I had a client who said, please don't tell me to sit down and take 10 deep breaths and tell me all the things I'm grateful for. I want to murder somebody right now. So where do you, I mean, if that's where a lot of us are at, right? And lockdown and work from home has been particularly stressful for us, then why should we make time to do one more to do on our list? And why are we even saying that, listen, guys, we know you're really busy, but please, can you do this one thing? It could really help. So there is a lot of science behind all of this. There's several studies. Let's
Mhm.
talk about, you mentioned that the things that you're grateful for, right, Aishwarya? But the thing is, at this moment, you're remembering it. But we have something called hedonic adaptation, which is that, as our very primitive brain, our brain, by the way, is still quite primitive. But what little we know is that our brain has a tendency to kind of get used to, or forget about all the good things in our life. everything good,
Mm.
like oh my god, yesterday you'll have seen this so often. You've bought a new outfit or you've bought a new lipstick. Within a few hours, the thrill of that is gone, right? Or even if you get like a new car or even a new house, if you see a year, 6 months later, if you say, oh my God, I have a new house, I have a, I mean, you'll be like, okay, what was I getting so thrilled about? Unfortunately, this is true even of things that we think might be far more important, like marriage and relationship and baby, career, raise, pay hike, promotion, all of these things, which is not to say they're not important at all, not for a minute. It's just that our brain gets very used to all of the good things. And it's for a very good reason as well. Imagine that we are cave people. And if we had to sit and think about all the wonderful things, oh, I ate such a beautiful blueberry yesterday, I'm going to be thinking about that blueberry now. Your stomach is getting hungry right now. There is a tiger outside your cave. I mean, your brain would be much better off thinking about all the threats that you have encountered in the past to prepare you for the threats that you will face in the future, all the potential anxieties of the future. So all these joyful thoughts of happy blueberries must quickly be forgotten, and we must focus instead on all the possible threats that we have. So this is the nature of our brain. And of course, in today's time, there are very, very palpable threats all around us, right? Not just of a virus, but also the potential of job loss, life loss, and we are seeing loss and pain all around us. And for good reason, our brain is going to focus on that. And what we do again and again is what we get really good at. And this becomes like a self-feeding model, right? We also have something called the default mode network in our brain, which is that, when you're like it's called brain wandering, mind wandering, when you're just sitting down and you sort of like glaze over and your thoughts are just like skimming one by one in your head. It's literally like your laptop has gone on to standby mode and is now going to scan for viruses. There might be like
Wow.
the odd blueberry, happy blueberry that will come, but by and large, our only job is to look for the viruses, potential threats, and also all the narrative that creates this petty me, right? See, Sandhya, yesterday you shouldn't have said this to that person. See, now you've made an enemy. Tomorrow you're going to go and make two more enemies. So all of this narrative that sort of keeps us in this most safe possible mode, but also in, we're kind of like looking for anything that can cause
Right.
us harm. So we need to kind of, so partly, yes, yeah, go ahead.
Wired for negative voice, and basically, this will help us transform that negative voice into a positive voice. Is that what you're saying?
Uh, yes and yes, but again, the question that a cynic would ask is, why should I be positive? Isn't it good for me to be negative? Shouldn't I be looking out for the threats, right? This sort of, we're not actually facing tigers today. Yes, we know that COVID is there. We know that we've assessed the risk now. We know that there are, experts working on it. But this constant rumination of the mind has devastating impacts on our body, on our well-being, on our focus, on our productivity, okay, on our
Also,
relationships, everything. Yeah. So
also it's taxing, right, to be living with this poison inside you. Like,
it
you it,
poison is the right word, right? It is truly toxic. Absolutely, absolutely, and quite literally as well. This is ravaging our bodies. This is ravaging our minds, and studies have shown us that when there are experiments where people have shifted from that extreme negative thinking or these negative cycles of thinking, what we call rumination, when we shift to a more positive mindset where we need to actively remind ourselves of the things that we have, of the gratitude that we have, it results in so much better well-being, happiness, but also better health, better sleep, better relationships, and your whole outlook towards life becomes more optimistic, right? You feel capable of taking on so much more. Your mind is able to scan to say, okay, I lost this job, but this might be the best time ever for me to start that business I've always wanted. To even be able to see that potential, to see that alternative, your brain has to be in that mode of rest and digest, which we can only do when we are calm and when we feel that sense of abundance rather than that sense of threat.
right, right. So there are some questions that are coming through from Veg Basket. read them out again. Guys, if you have any question and answers, please feel free to put it in the question box below. We'll definitely address it after this activity. So Sandhya, since you have explained the importance of this activity, let's just do it live for all our viewers here, right?
Okay.
And while you do it on the journal, I'm going to do it in the comment box below so that people, can simultaneously see it.
Fabulous idea. I would like to say that don't let Instagram and Instagrammers daunt you or in any way. Journaling can be very simple. It's literally us just slowing down our thoughts, consciously scanning for. So I love this particular definition of gratitude. There's one thing is showing like a sense of thanks for something that you may have received. It could be love, it could be material things. But another way of defining gratitude is simply showing appreciation for the things that you value and that are important to you. So it doesn't have to be about anything so great. Like you can say, oh my God, nothing good happened to me today. Or you can say, you know what, I'm so grateful that today my health is okay. It's for your just your state of being, you know. I'm so grateful for the coffee that I got this evening, which I had to make myself and I had to wash my own dishes. Yes, yes, yes. But that moment of enjoyment, right? We need to capture those moments. So I'm going to do, and again, all these beautiful journals. There are lovely journals that are available with beautiful prompts and daily messages. But honestly, you need nothing very much. I use like a free diary that I got at a conference. I do use a fountain pen. This is my personal preference. And I will explain why writing can be quite powerful. One, it's tactile. The act of putting pen to paper, and in my case with a fountain pen, it's going to sound quite scratchy as well. All of these are certain associations that you make to start with, but also the act of writing forces you to slow down your thinking, which you need to do when you're not in a state of threat. It also helps you activate certain parts of your brain that relate to language, that relate to working memory, and that relate to healing even. So I'll urge you to actually pick up a pen. You don't need to invest in anything fancy, but if you're a pen lover, this might be the best time to sort of, I think mine's like a Camel or a Parker or something, nothing very fancy again. And I'm going to write down, you can write like just one, two, or three things that you were grateful for in your day or in your week. So we'll go to the nitty-gritties of it after. Now let's not think too much. Think of anything nice that happened in your day today or in your week and just write down, but also the things that you're appreciative of, right? I'm so grateful for dot, dot, dot. Your time starts now. Let's do this.
All right, this is my first one. Um, to eat a warm, fresh, and complete meal. Complete meal.
Lovely. Was that two or three? Okay, that was number two, right? Yeah. Go ahead, take your time.
Enough. All right, so I have mentioned three things.
How
I've seen,
wonderful, wonderful. And surprisingly, they don't have to do with a courier package that arrived in your house today. How is that, Ashwarya? So spot on. Stuff material objects give us, we can be grateful for them and we should be grateful for them. But like I said, we develop this sort of blindness, we develop this sort of adaptation to it very quickly. Far longer a source of joy and pleasure is experiences. So between buying like a fancy new phone and taking a weekend off, the weekend off, because every time you recall it, it will bring you greater pleasure. The phone, you'll keep looking at it, but it will not be able to, and then you'll scratch it, or you'll break your screen, and then you'll start cursing it, and that very phone will start to hang after 2 months or something like that. There'll be a bug in it, and that phone will actually be the source of tremendous anxiety or anger for you, right? So mine were sort of similar. I guess we have similar priorities. I was very grateful to my neighborhood electrician for coming. Let me tell you, he actually helped me figure out an entire wiring system of my neighbor. So which reminded me that I was very grateful to my neighbor. I have work going on my roof, and the kind of sound that it creates is, and it will rip through like your spinal and every single nerve in your body. And my neighbor so sweetly gave me the keys to his house, and he said, you can go and work there. And my kids have exams, and he said they can go there, but his house didn't have a light. So you see how and then I was so grateful that my kids were able to do their exams online in these very difficult times. So sometimes one thought can also lead to another, and gratitude is not just sort of addictive, but it is also, it also helps you create a sense of oneness, right? So now each time I see that electrician, even if there's something that he does that makes me angry, I'll always remember this sort of sense of oneness has come, because he did something for me at the time of my need, and I felt that gratitude. I nourished that gratitude within me. I nourished that gratitude for my neighbor, and the next time I see him, I'll feel a greater sense of oneness with him as well. So there's a multitude of advantages, and this sort of paid forward is quite real, and it is very evidence-based as well. With your permission, Aishwarya, I want to just talk about a few of the nitty-gritties of the actual journaling, because we all have an idea of what it should be like, but not quite sure how to do it. Besides the actual implements, thank you for that, that we need, which are very basic. And I will say there are apps as well that you can use. Sometimes we think, oh, it's going to be far less inferior to actually writing with a beautiful fountain pen in a gratitude journal. Life is not perfect. Far more important that you do it, right? Regularity, just clocking it in, is the most important thing. So for that, I will say, if there is anything that you should invest in, please invest in like an alarm or a reminder on your phone, a notification. It is time to do your gratitude journaling. But also please invest in creating the accountability. If you've struggled with it, change of habit is never going to be easy. Keep in mind, our little caveman brain is going to tell us, please, 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 will you stop thinking about all the good things? Let's sit down and think about our threats, because that's what we need to be doing. That is critical. So to be able to shift is going to be hard, and everything in your body and brain is going to tell you, no, this is not what we should be prioritizing. But our logical thinking brain, our conscious brain, is aware that this is the person we want to become. This is the well-being we want to create. And therefore, we're going to have to make this. Initially, that which is bitter in the beginning will become sweet at the end, right? So with that thought, I will invite you to give it a try. How often should you do it? Now, this is something, again, that the studies are mixed on their findings. By and large, neuroscientists say that, look, what works for you is the right regularity. How you do it is the right regularity. Is the right way. So some people actually benefit from doing it every day at the same time. Some people are happy doing it once a week. Some people perhaps longer, and there are different ways as well. Some people like to write a letter to the person that they want to show gratitude for. Some people just like to reflect on it. Initially, we might feel, suppose the electrician, if I want to say something to him next time, like, I was really grateful, I might feel a little awkward initially as well. So that awkwardness does come. You don't have to go tremendously outside, but I'll say in small ways, try going outside your comfort zone. See the benefit that it brings you. You will actually get these hits of like dopamine and serotonin and sense of well-being, right? Which is really what we crave. It's really the drug that we crave every day.
Right. So, Sandhya, it's said that it takes 21 days to actually turn anything that you have picked up recently into a habit. So, even with gratitude journaling, maybe one can start penning down their thoughts and gratitude, say every day for at least 21 days. And I think that would be very elemental in sort of, creating a nice habit for themselves.
That's a great idea, Aishwarya. Also, it brings in the rigor into it, right? But it also gives you a taste for what is working for you and what's not working for you. So by all means, in these 21 days, try the different kinds of gratitude journaling. See what works for you in terms of time of day. It could be a very unorthodox time of day, right? It could just be your lunch break at work. If nighttime is too chaotic, or we're Netflixing like we're all guilty of doing these days, and then we just crash out when we realize it's too late. So like I said, an imperfect practice done regularly is far more powerful than trying to catch one perfect day of journaling. But try it, you just might like it.
Definitely. Time, I think now would be the perfect time to take up some questions.
Absolutely.
As asked, please tell me, how can we control our pessimism?
So we have this notion that bad things need to be got rid of and only good things need to come into our life. I think everything is a learning experience for us. Our emotions tell us so much about what's important to us and what we value. So what causes us sadness, what causes us anger, tells us really a lot about ourselves. So it's one thing to acknowledge that, to give awareness to that, but also to not judge that, but not to stay in that. So yes, your question is relevant in that yes, do keep in mind also we are actually sort of wired for pessimism. It's the pessimistic lines of people that said, okay, I'm not going to take this risk, I'm not going to take that risk, and that's how they survived. Perhaps the more optimistic amongst us, nothing is going to happen to us, I'm going to go out there and see what happens, those are probably the lineage that sort of died out 10,000 years ago. So pessimism isn't all bad, but you're right, staying in that place creates deep anxiety and happiness within us. So definitely gratitude is one way of overturning it. This doesn't happen overnight. Like I said, it's a 360-degree plan that you need to have to address all of the aspects. Sometimes we need to sort of rehabilitate our mind. We need to understand why we think the way we do. Sometimes we need to actually address the root of where our sadness, or if you're calling it pessimism, comes from. I doubt that everything is a negative to you, to the person who's asking the question. If you actually scan actively, there might be some moments in which you'll find yourself to be at least neutral, if not happy. The idea is to find those and feed those. So it's like we have different seeds in us. It's very much within your choice what seeds you choose to water. And then the seeds that you don't want to encourage to grow, rather than going after every single weed and pulling it out, let's just sort of leave it. It'll wither away on its own. It's all a part of who you are. And, we accept the good with the bad. So
So we
small steps every day.
small
Yes.
emotions are like a small wave that that are passing by. So sometimes you just have to allow it to subside. Um,
Absolutely. Sometimes it's a small wave, sometimes it's a tsunami, but also, Aishwarya, like I said right at the beginning, we do have a center within us which is actually apart from the storm. If you see,
that
sometimes if you ca- I'm
connecting
sorry.
to our connecting to
Absolutely.
our
So sometimes you'll catch yourself, you can actually see yourself acting outside. Like even if you're yelling at somebody, sometimes you'll get a sense that, oh my God, I can actually see myself like I'm outside my own body, standing there watching myself yell. So we have something within us. Some philosophies call it the silent witness, some people call it the soul, some people call it the silent center, some people call it interbeing. But there is that sort of substratum of calm over which and around which all of this happens. So just to be able to observe that, yes, this is a wave of sorrow that's hitting me right now. It's this sorrow is happening to me. It is my reaction to things. It is not me, right?
so
I'm
somewhere that if you and I just randomly remember it right now when you said that sometimes we are a witness to our own being. It is said that if you have a very cruel boss, always keep a mirror in front of you. So whenever that boss comes around and yells at you, they can see themselves in the mirror.
Totally, totally. The other beautiful analogy, the other one I use is every time you like point a finger at somebody else, please know that three are pointing back at you. Very often the things that we're frustrated about in our day, in our lives outside, are all the things that we can't control. But again, all the things that are important to us. So use your anger to see what's important to you. If you're getting angry with the way people around you are being treated, or if you're getting angry with the way things are being done, do keep in mind that all we have control over to some extent is just our actions. Most people are helpless to behave the way they will behave, and they're not doing it necessarily to make your life miserable. They're mostly just centered around their own thoughts and emotions. You're not even on their radar for most part. So it's our choice how we want to jump into that storm or not. But we can also use this moment to say, hey, listen, what does this tell me about me? What can I learn from this emotion? So it's like saying that, look, this emotion is causing me pain. I can choose to either keep touching this needle and seeing, oh, is it going to hurt me? Is it going to hurt me? Yes, it will. Or I can say, okay, let me find out what's on this needle. Why is it causing me pain? I take my hand off it to stop and analyze. And for that, you need to get out of this default mode, this sort of ruminative thinking, and the gratitude. The one way to switch from that negative to the positive is to actually stop and say, okay, hold on. When there's pain, your brain is hyper focused on it. It is one of the things that we need to do to survive, right? If there's a threat, are you going to be looking at the beautiful scenery around? No, we are hyper focused on the threat. So the gratitude helps us again go into that parasympathetic system, the rest and digest, saying that, okay, you know what, this isn't life threatening. This was just an angry boss. There's plenty in my life and then you'll be able to find the solution. But you need to do that as well, right? It's not just, we're not just going to eternally gratitude journal. We do need to use our thinking, and we do need to build on all of this as well.
And so, thank you so much, Sandhya, for turning up and addressing this topic for us, teaching us to gratitude, teaching us to express our gratitude in a more perfect way, or rather in a more constructive way. Um, and thank you for teaching me personally um, how to be more centered and balanced.
It's
So,
been my absolute pleasure. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I hope that I've been able to share some very imperfect ways of moving ahead, right? If we fail forward. So there's no compulsion on us to get it right. And I'm very much a work in progress myself. So I'm just sharing my journey, and thank you for giving me this opportunity, Aishwarya.
thank you, Sandhya. Thank you so much. With this, I would also like to thank our viewers today who joined us, to all our loyal viewers. Thank you so much, guys. It was really, really fun talking to you. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day. I hope you have a great day loving yourself first. So, yeah, happy and happy weekend ahead. Bye.
Bye bye, guys.